are fighting the good fight, the fight of faith, in the Global Anglican Communion with the Revisionists. Before we go to our topic for today, I would like to give you a background to the reason why we are here. In the Garden of Eden, Satan deceived Eve. He used a strategy that worked for him, and he still uses the same strategy today. He said to Eve, "Did God really say that you should not eat any fruit in the garden? Did God really say?" But that wasn't what God said. That was the origin of revisionism. Trying to alter the word of God. Trying to change the word of God. Trying to revise the word of God. Trying to challenge the authority of the word of God. It started in the Garden of Eden. That was the origin of revisionism. What is revisionism? From the word revise, to alter, to change, to modernize. And that is why the Church of England changed their baptismal liturgy. In the liturgy of baptism, where you ask the godparents, do you renounce Satan and all his works? Do you renounce sin? The Church of England liturgy of baptism has changed. They revised it. And in that revision, they removed sin and Satan. So you don't ask the candidates for baptism or the godparents again whether they renounce sin or Satan. Because they said that the word sin is offensive to some people. And the word Satan is offensive to some people. If you don't renounce Satan as a Christian, what is your faith? You don't renounce sin. That is the battle we are fighting. And of course, you all know about the Lambert 1998 Resolution 110, where when the bishops of the Anglican Communion, Global Anglican Communion, all decided on the definition of marriage. We were talking about marriage in the Bible study this morning. And throughout this year in the Church of Nigeria Bible study, we'll be talking about marriage. But these men reneged on it. The Church of England and America, they did not accept it. Even though all our bishops accepted the definition of marriage according to the scriptures. And now, if you are living in the West, you are filling some forms where you have marital status. In Nigeria, you have married, single, divorced, widowed. In their own, you have married, single, divorced, civil partnership. Because men and men marry and live together. Women and women marry and live together. When I was in the UK, I was posted to a church, and that church was an all-white congregation. I was wondering why the bishop posted me to that church. And I was to be the first African to pastor that congregation. But some people were not comfortable with my coming. So they invited me for a meeting. And these were the top men, the most influential men in that church. And they asked me some questions. I didn't know why they invited me for that meeting. They already knew I was coming to take over because the former rector was retiring and the bishop posted me to that church. And they were asking me, if you assume duty as the rector of this church and gays and lesbians come to receive communion, will you give them? I said, yes, I will give them. And I said, the church where I was at the time, we had gays and lesbians, and what I was doing was to take them one by one and minister to them in the form of discipleship. And they now asked me, if they come for premarital counseling, are you going to counsel them? I said no. And they now asked me, what if they come for wedding? Are you going to bless their marriage? I said no. They now said to me, you know you are a Nigerian, but you're no longer in Nigeria. You are in Church of England. And you must obey the law of the land. As a matter of fact, the law of the land is first practiced by the Church of England. Because in the British Parliament, there are 26 senior bishops who are in the Parliament. 26 Anglican bishops. It's just like in Nigeria, you have Anglican bishops in the National Assembly. There are 26 senior bishops who are in the British Parliament, in the House of Lords. They are called the Lords Spiritual. And 5 of those seats are automatic. Reserved for the Archbishop of Canterbury, the Archbishop of York, the Bishop of London, the Bishop of Durham, and the Bishop of Winchester. Then the 21 others are reserved for the other senior bishops in the Parliament. And these men, these bishops will be there, they will be making laws. You know, Britain does not have a written constitution. Their constitution, they change their constitution every now and then. Now, these bishops sit in the Parliament and they make laws that are contrary to the word of God. That is why when they make these laws, the Church of England practice it first. And these men, the next morning after that session with these men, the diocesan missioner called me on phone and said, Father Vincent, because they found it difficult to pronounce my Igbo name. So, because they do high Anglican, they refer to Anglican priests as Father, Reverend Father. He called me and said, why did I say that I didn't want to pastor that church? I said, I didn't say so. He said, no, that they had written a letter to the bishop telling the bishop that I said that I did not want to be the rector of the church. But I didn't say so. It was just a ploy to make sure that I did not go to that church as the rector. And the man said, no, we are going to see the bishop. I said, there's no need for that. He said, no, we are going to correct that impression. You are going to that church. I said, no, there's no need for that. That is the battle we are fighting in the global Anglican Communion. That the gays and lesbians have taken over the church. If it was a problem in the society, it would be a different thing. If it was a problem in the church, in the membership of the church, it would be a different thing. But the problem now that makes it more worrisome is that the pastors, the bishops, the archbishops are the ones propagating it. They made their first bold statement when they elected the first openly gay bishop, Gene Robinson, in America. And another one happened recently, the first openly lesbian archbishop, the Archbishop of Wales. Even the present Archbishop of Canterbury is supporting and propagating the revisionism. And that's why they are comfortable with the woman. That is the fight we are facing in the global Anglican community.